What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Just me again, so it's going to be a pretty quick show, anyways. A lot of college news as we wind down the season, getting into bowl season. I believe next weekend, Saturday, 16th, is the first slate of bowl games. So we won't talk about that until next Friday, but we do have one FBS game, the Army Navy game to talk about, and also the FCS Quarterfinals getting going this weekend, starting tonight, actually. And of course, we'll have all of your NFL previews at the end as well. So last night, this game, there's going to be a lot of curse words used today for this game. This was an absolute shit show for Pittsburgh. I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point. Back-to-back losses against 2-10 teams at home. Like, this team looks disinterested. The young players look like they give up during the game. Especially, you can see it on the faces of guys like George Pickens, and the quarterback, Mr. Risky. It's just not good. And it's not a great schedule coming up either. Colts, Bengals. Yeah, they got to go to Indianapolis. They host Cincinnati on back-to-back Saturday games, and then they go to Seattle and to Baltimore. Like, that's all four teams are 500 or above right now. So it ain't gonna get easier. Those were two games that they needed to win. So the offense did not look great with Mitch Trubisky. And the defense, I mean, they gave up 21 in the first half, but they shut them out in the second half. So, you can't really fault the defense. But the false start call on Christian Kuntz, the Steelers long snapper, was the biggest bullshit that I've ever seen in the NFL. Absolutely horrendous. I don't care if it's against the rules, like what Pat McAfee said today. It doesn't matter. Come on. Even if it's technically against the rules, it's bullshit to call it. Again, it's circumstance. Circumstances mean a lot when you are talking about officiating. You cannot call that in that moment in time. There was a blatant offside. There was not a blatant false start. So that was bullshit for one. And for two, what are we calling Mike Sullivan? I mean, I was begging for him to run it on 3rd and 2 at the end of the Steelers' last drive. Run it on 3rd and 2. If you don't get it on 4th and 1, then you can throw the ball. But run the ball on 3rd and 2. I don't care if the clock's ticking down to the 2-minute warning. Run the ball, and you should be able to get 2 yards with the way that the Steelers had been running the ball, even though it wasn't as effective last night. But they were picking up some yards. I would have ran it on 3rd and 2, passed it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 if you didn't get it on 3rd down. But then the 4th down call, I mean, bro, come on. You're throwing up a ball that has, maybe a 10% chance of completion, probably more than that, but like, it's not a high percentage throw. It's not a sure thing. And yeah, there was contact with Deontay Johnson, but again, that's not the guy you're supposed to be throwing that to. Like, throw it to Pickens. Pickens is the guy that you throw those to because he's big and strong and can go up and get the ball. Not Deontay Johnson, who's 5'10". So, yeah, it was not great. The play calling on offense was not there for Mike Sullivan. The team did not get up for this game. besides a couple of guys, the leaders, Minka Fitzpatrick, in this game. He was really hyping the team up. Cameron Hayward played excellently. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith were in and out of the game, injuries. But on offense, I mean, there wasn't a leader. I didn't see many people fired up or bringing the offensive squad together to figure out what the hell's going on and why we can't move the ball. And I mean, the biggest thing was that you didn't kick the field goal down 11 inside the 20-yard line. I understand going for it, but you're down 11 points and you were down 18 at one point. So kick the goddamn field goal and go, because that came back to hurt them. They didn't get the field goal there. They had to get a field goal at the end to tie it, and they weren't able to do that. So this was probably one of the worst coached games I've seen from Mike Tomlin in a while, if maybe ever. He has to figure it out. Again, it's not necessarily time to panic in Pittsburgh because there are 4 games left. But this game dropped them outside the playoff picture. If every other team wins this week, they'll be in 9th place or 8th place, whatever. So, yeah, it's paramount that they should have won those 2 games the last 2 weeks against bottom teams. They didn't. This is the reality Pittsburgh has to face, and they got to go win games now. And they have to win 2 out of the 4 at least to keep Mike Tomlin's streak of 16 straight seasons with without a losing record. So there you go. Anyways, Patriots 21-18 over the Steelers. Bailey Zappi came out slinging it 19-28, 67.9%. 243 touchdowns, 1 pick, 3 carries for 13 yards. Mitch Trubisky, 22-35, 62.9%, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 8 carries for 30 yards and a touchdown. Patriots running back Ezekiel Elliott led the game in rushing, 22 carries, 68 yards, 7 receptions, 72 yards, a touchdown on 8 targets. That just annihilated me in fantasy, by the way, his receiving stuff. Patriots wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, his return to Pittsburgh, he led the game in receiving, 4 catches, 90 yards on 6 targets. 2 touchdown night for the birthday boy, Patriots tight end Hunter Henry, 3 catches, 40 yards, 2 touchdowns on 3 targets. And defensively, I am going to go with Steelers linebacker Elandon Roberts, 6 tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and a QB hit. Patriots plus 5.5. They went outright over 30.5. USFL news, couple signings here. The Stallions, they signed XFL's St. Louis Battlehawks wide receiver Gary Jennings. So continuing just to build up the 2-time defending USFL champs. The Philadelphia Stars, they signed Maryland wide receiver Dante Demas Jr., excellent player out of Maryland. Going to give Philly a boost up in their wide receiver core this year. And the Memphis Showboats, they re-signed linebacker Jeff McCulloch, excellent player on their defense last year, leading tackler. Really excited to see him back in a Memphis uniform this year. College football news, we have the major awards finalists. Going to get announced, I guess, this weekend is the awards. So the Chuck Bednarik Award, that goes to the Defensive Player of the Year. The finalists are UCLA defensive end Laiatu Latu, Alabama linebacker Dallas Turner, and NC State linebacker Peyton Wilson. Love my guy Peyton Wilson, but I do think it's going to be Laiatu Latu. He had an excellent season out in LA for the Bruins. Big sack numbers and just ferocious. Best pass rusher in the draft, more than likely. The Biletnikoff Award, that goes to the best receiver in the country. Ohio State wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors, and Washington wide receiver Rome Odunze. You know, Adunze probably should win it, but I do think it's going to be Ohio State wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. just because of the hype surrounding him and the touchdown numbers. I believe 14 on the season, something like that. Only 1,200 receiving yards, but I do think the touchdowns get it, and because of the hype around MHJ there. The Lou Groza Award that goes to the best kicker in the country, best place kicker, Miami, Ohio kicker Graham Nicholson, UNLV kicker Jose Pisano, and Alabama kicker Will Reichard. I lean Reichard, but I would advocate for Pisano from UNLV. He had a great season for the Rebels, catapulting them to a Mountain West championship appearance, and Reichard has had some struggles this year. I don't know too much about Nicholson, but he also catapulted his squad to a MAC championship. So those two guys, but I would go with Pisano. That's my pick for that one there. The Ray Guy Award, the best punter in the country, Vanderbilt punter Matthew Hayball, Florida State punter Alex Mastromano, and Iowa punter Tory Taylor. It's Tory Taylor. I mean, this guy's been dominant the last 2 seasons and continued that all this year. So, yeah, it's got to be Tory Taylor. He's the best punter by far in the draft this year, and he's going to get the Ray Guy Award. I believe he won it last year. I can't remember, though. The Maxwell Award, that goes to the best or the player of the year. So LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, Oregon quarterback Bo Nix, Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Those 3 are the same 3 finalists for the Davey O'Brien Award, which goes to the best quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I've said my piece about this. Bo Nix is my guy, but I do like Michael Penix. I think he will win it now. Jaden Daniels, I'm not gonna pick him ever because of the crappy stat padding that they did this year at LSU. The Outland Award goes to the best interior lineman. So Notre Dame offensive tackle Joe Alt, Kansas State offensive lineman Cooper Beebe, Texas defensive lineman Tavondre Sweat. It's a close one. All 3 are fantastic. Beebe and Sweat, I think it's going to be down to those 2. I'm going to go with my guy Tavondre Sweat, though. He was a monster inside for Texas this year. Stuff in the run. Scored a touchdown in the Big 12 championship game, and I'm so hyped to watch him on national TV in the playoff this year. The Jim Thorpe Award goes to the best defensive back in the country, Iowa corner Cooper DeJean, Georgia safety Malachi Starks, and Air Force safety Trey Taylor. I love Trey Taylor. He is a tackling machine for Air Force. Had a couple of interceptions this year, 3, I believe. And DeJean, I think, is not going to win it because of the missed games. But, yeah, my pick would go to Trey Taylor, even though I love my guy Malachi Starks. He had some coverage issues this year as well. Never saw those from Trey Taylor. So give me Air Force there. Doak Walker Award, that goes to the best running back. Oklahoma State running back Ollie Gordon, North Carolina running back Omarion Hampton, and Missouri running back Cody Schrader. Fantastic field there for those 3 finalists. Ollie Gordon, though, is the guy. I think did he lead the country in rushing? Let's check here. Yes, he led the country in rushing, 1,614 yards, and 20 touchdowns is just ridiculous. 20 rushing touchdowns, let alone he had 37 catches for 326 yards and a touchdown through the air as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be Ollie Gordon, 21 total touchdowns and just under 2,000 total yards. Was quite the beast there for Oklahoma State and getting them to the Big 12 championship game this year. Mackey Award, best tight end in the country, Ohio State tight end Cade Stover, Georgia tight end Brock Bowers, and Colorado State tight end Dallin Holker. Yeah, it's Brock Bowers. I mean, this guy has been ridiculous the last couple seasons. And even though he missed some games this year, he still put up numbers. that are up there with the best tight ends in the country. So yeah, it's Brock Bowers all the way for the Mackey Award this year. Transfer portal. Notre Dame wide receiver Chris Tyree. He is headed to Virginia. Good get for Tony Elliott's squad there. Florida State defensive end Patrick Payton is in. FIU wide receiver Chris Mitchell. He is committed to Notre Dame, taking Chris Tyree's spot there. Texas Tech quarterback Tyler Schuff. He is committed to Louisville. So Coach Braun gets another transfer quarterback this year. Arkansas running back Rocket Sanders, one of the top running backs in the portal. He is visiting South Carolina. Coastal Carolina quarterback Grayson McCall. He visited with UCF. USC wide receiver Michael Jackson is in the portal. Nebraska quarterback Jeff Sims. Texas A&M tight end Jake Johnson. Marshall quarterback Cam Fanter. Love Cam Fanter. Loved watching him in a couple games that I did this year. Georgia quarterback Brock Vandagriff. He has committed to Kentucky, so Georgia will see him next year if he is a starter there. Oklahoma State quarterback Gunnar Gundy. Indiana quarterback Brendan Sorsby. He's committed to Cincinnati, young player there with some upside. A lot of teams are interested. Florida edge rusher Princely Umanmielen. Wake Forest running back Justice Ellison. Hawaii quarterback Braden Shager. Oregon State tight end Jack Velling. Duke running back Jordan Waters. He has interest from South Carolina, USC, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas A&M. Oregon State quarterback Aiden Childs. He visited with Michigan State, expected to sign there with his old head coach, Jonathan Smith. Western Carolina running back Desmond Reed, excellent player last year for WCU, should get a top offer in FBS. Toledo quarterback DeQuan Finn, he visited Wisconsin. Utah wide receiver Mikey Matthews. Ohio State running back Chip Trayanum. Duke edge rusher RJ Oben has visited Notre Dame. Duke running back Jaquez Moore. Florida running back Trevor Etienne. Oregon State linebacker Easton Mascarenas Arnold. Oregon State safety Akili Arnold. Appalachian State running back Nate Noel. Alabama wide receiver Ja'Cory Brooks. Georgia wide receiver Makai Muse. Georgia linebacker Xavier Sori. Memphis offensive tackle Mikaelin Pounders. UCLA tight end Carson Ryan. He visited with Utah and Washington so far. South Carolina running back Mario Anderson. North Texas running back Oscar Attaway. He visited with South Carolina. Wake Forest wide receiver Jamal Banks. Vanderbilt wide receiver London Humphreys. He visited with Georgia. Tulane edge rusher Davion Deal. UConn tight end Justin Jolly. He visited NC State. Notre Dame defensive lineman Nana Osafo Mensa. He committed to TCU. Big get there. Tennessee edge rusher Tyler Barron. Tennessee defensive back Danico Slaughter, and Texas wide receiver Isaiah Nair, all in the portal there. Coaching carousel, Wyoming head coach Craig Bohl has retired. Defensive coordinator Jay Salvell will be the interim for the bowl game. Duke, they have their new head coach, hiring Penn State defensive coordinator Manny Diaz, former Miami head coach there as well. So he gets another opportunity as the head man of a program. James Madison, they are targeting Holy Cross head coach Bob Chesney as their next head coach. To replace Kurt Signetti there. Mid-Tennessee, they have hired Oklahoma State defensive coordinator Derek Mason as their next head coach, former Vanderbilt head coach as well. Tulane, they are targeting Troy head coach John Summerall as their next head coach. Excellent run at Troy. We'll see if that gets finalized. Texas A&M, they have hired Kansas State offensive coordinator Colin Klein as their offensive coordinator. Going to be Mike Elko's OC there. Kansas has hired Baylor offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes to the same position. Louisiana Tech, they hired Northern Iowa defensive coordinator Jeremiah Johnson as their defensive coordinator. Senior Bowl invites accepted. TCU defensive back Josh Newton. Auburn defensive back Jalen Simpson. Super excited for him. Great ball skills from Simpson. Stanford kicker Joshua Carty. North Carolina wide receiver Devontae Walker. Western Kentucky wide receiver Malachi Corley. USC running back Marshawn Lloyd. And Penn State defensive end Adisa Isaac. And one draft declaration to mention, Penn State tight end Theo Johnson declared for the draft. He will play in the Peach Bowl, though. NFL news, the Jets switching again at quarterback. They are going back to Zach Wilson at quarterback after being benched for the last couple of weeks. Wilson back in the starting saddle. Colts defensive end Al-Qadim Muhammad. He has been suspended the next 6 games for PEDs, so loss of a pass rusher there for Indianapolis. And Robbie Gould, the former 49ers kicker, he has officially retired. He went undrafted out of Penn State in 2005, kicked for the Bears for a long time, 05 through 2015, kicked with the Giants in 2016, and then 2017 through 2022, he was with the 49ers. Played in 266 career games. I don't like how, oh, there we go. He was 447 of 517 on field goals, 58 for a long there, 86.5% career make. Extra points, 620 of 636, 97.5%. And of course, he had some kickoffs as well. That was all in the regular season. In the playoffs, he was in the playoffs with the Bears 05, 06, and 2010, and then the Giants in 16, the Niners 19, 21, 22. In the playoffs, he was 29 of 20. Perfect. Crazy. 29 of 29 on field goals, 39 of 39 on extra points. Just ridiculous production when it mattered the most. One-time first-team All-Pro, I believe. Yeah, one-time first-team All-Pro in 06, one-time Pro Bowler as well in 06. But yeah, one of the better kickers of all times there. And yeah, congrats to Robbie Gould on a great career with those couple franchises. Chiefs wide receiver Justin Ross. He will be rejoining the team, has been on the commissioner's exempt list the last 5 games, but he'll be rejoining the team on Monday because he has been suspended for violating the personal conduct policy, but the games that he missed get credited for the suspension against the suspension. So he just has to miss this last game this weekend, and then he will be back on Monday. However, he does have to pay back the 6 game checks he received while on paid leave and on the commissioner's exempt list. Playoff clinching scenarios. It's week 14. So here we go. The Philadelphia Eagles. They have a lot of them. They can win against the Cowboys and have the Seahawks lose or tie to the 49ers. They can win and have the Rams lose or tie against in Baltimore. They can win, have the Packers lose or tie, and the Vikings lose or tie. Vikings in Vegas and the Packers in New York to play the Giants. They can win and have the Packers lose or tie, and the Lions lose. Lions taking on the Bears in Chicago. And they have a lot of tie scenarios. So they can tie, have the Rams lose, and the Seahawks lose. Seahawks taking on the Niners, like I said. They can tie, have the Rams lose, and the Vikings lose or tie. Tie, Rams lose, and the Packers lose or tie. Tie, the Seahawks lose, and the Vikings lose or tie. Tie, Seahawks lose, and the Packers lose or tie. Or they can tie and have the Vikings and the Packers both lose. There you go. That's a lot. Most likely scenario, I think, is the win and the Seahawks lose or tie, or the win and the Rams lose or tie, because those two teams are playing tough opponents there. The 49ers can also clinch a playoff berth. They need a win and a Packers loss against the Giants, a win and a Vikings loss against the Raiders, or a win and both a Vikings and Packers tie. The Cowboys can also clinch a playoff berth. Theirs is a lot more complicated, though, this weekend. They need a win, a Vikings loss or tie, Packers loss or tie, Seahawks loss, a Bucks loss or tie. They are in Atlanta this weekend, the Bucks, and a Lions win or tie, and a Rams loss or tie. And this as long as the Packers and the Vikings both don't tie. Same thing, Vikings loss or tie, Packers loss or tie, Seahawks loss, Bucks loss or tie, Lions win or tie, and the Saints loss or tie, as long as the Packers and the Vikings both don't tie. And then a win, Vikings loss or tie, Packers loss or tie, Seahawks loss, Bucks tie, Lions win or tie, and then as long as the Vikings and Packers both don't tie. So unlikely the Cowboys will clinch a playoff berth this weekend. Couple guys getting placed on IR. The Jets placing tight end CJ Uzama on IR. Jags placed wide receiver Christian Kirk on IR as well with his core muscle injury that he had surgery on. IR return. The Chargers, they opened the practice window for wide receiver Joshua Palmer. So help is coming possibly for Justin Herbert and that LA offense. Help also coming to Buffalo. They opened the practice window for tight end Dawson Knox and corner Kaiir Elam. Injuries. The Panthers tight end Hayden Hurst. His father announced that he has post-traumatic amnesia after a hit that he sustained against the Bears in Chicago on November 9th. Hurst came out and said, though, that it's not career-ending. He hopes to return at some point, hopefully this season. Steelers last night losing linebacker Alex Highsmith to a neck injury. He is in the concussion protocol, but obviously with the length of time from now until the next one, they have a bit of time, extra time to clear that there. The Browns rookie quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he is out of the concussion protocol. So good news for Cleveland. We'll see which guy gets the start, though, whether it's him or it is Joe Flacco this coming weekend. We're not sure yet on because Kevin Stefanski said he's not going to announce a starter, which is cool. Oh, and also not sure if Geno Smith will be playing this weekend or not. Drew Lock, possible starter in San Francisco because of knee injury. I can't remember what it was for Geno there. Ins and outs, though. Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert, broken forearm. He is expected to return this week. Excellent news on a week that they got Shaq Leonard at linebacker, and it's Dallas week, of course. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson dealing with a hamstring injury. He is also expected to make his return this week in Vegas. Raiders defensive end Max Crosby dealing with a knee injury since week 11. He will play this week, he said. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor rehabbing his thumb injury, UCL tear there. He is out. Also, Chiefs out a lot of players. Running back Isaiah Pacheco with a shoulder. Linebacker Drew Tranquil. Defensive back Brian Cook. Offensive tackle Donovan Smith are all out. So massive losses there on both sides of the ball. Saints quarterback Derek Carr with concussion, ribs, and a right shoulder injury. He is questionable, has one more hurdle to clear concussion protocol before Sunday. Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence with his high ankle sprain. He is officially questionable. There is a real possibility that Trevor Lawrence plays this week, which would be just crazy, but might wait another week in Cleveland this week there. And finally, the Texans, the tight end Dalton Schultz. He is out once again this weekend. The Dolphins paying people. Right tackle Austin Jackson signed a 3-year, $36 million extension, $39 million max value there, $20.7 million guaranteed. Excellent deal for Austin Jackson, having a great year, protecting Tua Tagovailoa's blind side. So it's kind of interesting when you have a left-handed quarterback, you have to pay the right tackle more because that's his blind side. So. And a couple signings, the Rams, they signed Packers kicker Mason Crosby to their practice squad, expected to activate him to the active roster this weekend. Patriots, they claimed linebacker Christian Ellis off waivers from the Eagles. Busy claim market for him. The Cardinals, Titans, Falcons, Broncos, and Dolphins all try to claim him. And the Seahawks, they signed quarterback Sean Mannion to the practice squad. This was in response to the possibility that Geno Smith may not play this weekend. So a backup for Drew Lock there. College pick standings. It was not great last weekend in either college or NFL for myself. Both worst records in those. But after going 0-7 last week, I went 0-4 on Lone Wolves this past weekend. Got Georgia wrong in the SEC championship against Alabama. Got Iowa wrong in the Big Ten championship against Michigan. Got Richmond wrong against Albany in the FCS playoffs. And also in the FCS playoffs, Youngstown State lost to Villanova. Logan, he went 2-2 in his Lone Wolves. He lost New Mexico State against Liberty in the Conference USA championship. He got Washington right over Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. And then he got Boise State right over UNLV in the Mountain West championship. He lost Montana State against North Dakota State, though, in overtime in the FCS playoffs by a blocked extra point. That's tough, Logan. And then Jimmy, he went 1-2 in his Lone Wolves. He lost Appalachian State against Troy in the Sun Belt championship. And he lost Sacramento State against South Dakota in the FCS playoffs. But he did get the last game of the week right. Idaho beating SIU in overtime in the FCS playoffs. So, Jimmy and I are still a lot back. The gap just keeps getting worse. I am 17 back of Logan. Jimmy is 19 back of Logan. Just 2 back of myself. If I keep doing bad, and Jimmy's going to pass me soon. I can just see it coming. Small slate, though, this week. For the FCS playoffs. And we have 3 Lone Wolves, actually, even in a small slate. It's intriguing. I do not have any Lone Wolves, thank God, for the first time in a little bit. But the lone FBS game this week, Army at Navy. Go Navy, beat Army. Supporting our guy, Mark Warren, former Navy man there. This one's in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play. Jimmy, though, Lone Wolf and the Black Knights there. This was close. Army is favored by 3, but I just think Navy's playing better ball at this point in time. I did think Navy had a chance to get into a bowl game based off their wins and who they were against, Army did not have an opportunity to get to a bowl game because they have 2 wins against FCS opponents. But I just like Ty Lavatai there at quarterback for Navy. I think he's experienced. Bryson Daly is less experienced. And I mean, maybe Army wins, but I don't know. I'm going with Navy this year. I think I went with Army last year. And they got Eli Heidenreich at their leading receiver. He's a running back, but from Pittsburgh, PA. So go Navy, beat Army. And with that, I will switch my background there to the Navy Navy camo. The total here is 28.5. How do we feel about that? Well, I think I'm going to go over. I think 28.5. I know these games are always low, but I'm going to go over 28.5. I think we might get some stuff going. 3 p.m. on CBS. FCS playoffs quarterfinals here. Starting tonight, number 7 Furman at number 2 Montana. We are all on the Grizz. I just do not think these teams this weekend are going to be able to go on the road. 3 out of the 4 matchups are non-conference opponents. This one, I believe, is a CAA versus Big Sky, and I just don't think. Or this is the SoCon versus Big Sky there, and I just don't think Furman's going to be able to go up into that cold and win against Montana. Now the point spread keeps dropping for some odd reason. It looks like it's going to be 35 degrees tomorrow or tonight. So not terrible, not very terrible, but it's down to 16 points now. It started at 18.5 when I first checked it today. But I do like Furman to cover maybe, even though a lot of these games have been blowouts in the FCS playoffs so far, except for a couple last week. I think Furman could cover. And I mean, I could see them why they would win. Tyler Huff's having a great year. The Paladins starting quarterback. So, but yeah, I just think Montana's going to get them on their home turf there. The total for this one is 43.5. I like the over. 9 p.m. ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. Tomorrow, the other 3 quarterfinals, number 8 Villanova at number 1 South Dakota State. Yeah, we're all over the Jackrabbits here. It's 21. There's just no way Villanova cannot match up with South Dakota State. This is a CAA versus Missouri Valley conference matchup. And South Dakota State's been just killing people all year. They've had a couple close ones, but they haven't had a close one since October 21st at Southern Illinois. They're the only undefeated team in the FCS, and it's going to stay that way. Go Jacks. Total is 48.5, and I like the over. 12 p.m. ESPN and ESPN Plus. Got a lone wolf, North Dakota State at number 3 South Dakota, the only non-seeded team to make it to the quarterfinals, upsetting Montana State last weekend. They got to continue to go on the road to make it to the FCS National Championship, and Jimmy and I are going with them. Logan, however, is on the Coyotes. Howling with the Coyotes there, like they do. But I just think North Dakota State's on one. When they get into the playoffs, it's just like it's different. They have the best win percentage in the FCS playoffs by far. It's not even close. And South Dakota is an upstart team that has really come together this year, but I don't think they're experienced in this. And to face this type of team that's hot in NDSU, I don't think they're going to be able to get it done, even though it's a good South Dakota team this year. Total here is 49.5. I like the under in this game. 230 ABC and ESPN Plus. And then the last one, FCS quarterfinal, number 5 Albany at number 4 Idaho. The 4-5 matchup in Moscow, Idaho, in the Kibbe Dome there. Yeah, Idaho escaped last week against SIU, but I don't know. I think it's the principle of the Big Sky versus the CAA here, and I'm going with the Big Sky team. Logan lone wolfing with the dogs again now, with Danes of Albany, the Great Danes. Jimmy and I going with the Vandals though, as he lone wolfed them last week. I'm jumping on the ship. Total's 51.5. I'm going with the under. 10 p.m. ESPN Plus. NFL pick standings. Like I said, I had the worst record once again last week. 0-2 on Lone Wolves. Jimmy, though, with the best record, he went 2-0. Now, remember, last week we were all one game apart, and this last week separated it all out again and didn't move anyone up or down. Jimmy went 2-0 in his Lone Wolves. He got the Texans right against the Broncos and the Niners right against the Eagles. I went 0-2 in mine. Titans against the Colts in overtime, and then the Jets against the Falcons. And Logan went 1-1 in his Lone Wolves. Got the Panthers wrong against the Bucks and the Rams right over the Browns. So let's see what we got this weekend here. The Panthers at the Saints to start off the 1:00 slate. And yeah, Jimmy and I are on the Panthers. We've been here before, Jimmy, and it doesn't go well usually when you and I are on one, and then Logan is against us, and when it comes to Carolina, but we'll see. So Logan is the lone wolf against us on the Panthers. We'll see. Get that number 2 win for Carolina. 5 points for the Saints in the Superdome. 37.5 is the total in this game. I'm going to go with the under by the hook, actually. 2017 Panthers win. NFC South matchup, Bucks at the Falcons. Yeah, Logan going again here on the Buccaneers. And, this was a close one. As you can see, the spread's only 2.5. But I just think Desmond Ridder of the Falcons have been playing pretty well. They see this opportunity to grasp the NFC South and take hold of it. And I think that's what's going to happen this week. They're going to separate themselves finally, get the NFC South back to having the leading team be a winning record. And Atlanta gets it done at home here after the Bucs had a scare last week against the Panthers, and the Falcons played a bruiser in New York against the Jets. 40.5 is the total here. I'm going to go with the under. Colts at the Bengals. Indy getting 2.5 on the road in Cincinnati. Jake Browning starting for Cincy, getting that massive win last week on Monday against the Jags in Jacksonville. Logan, 3 strikes to start off the NFL slate here. And yeah, I mean, sure. This one was close also with the way Jake Browning played last week. But I just think the Colts are on the path that they need this win more than the Bengals, and they want this win more than the Bengals to keep their playoff spot right now. So Jimmy and I going with Indianapolis. 43.5 is the total here. Give me the under. Jags at the Browns. And no one is picking Jacksonville with the likelihood that Trevor Lawrence doesn't play in this game. I don't think he should, not against this defense, anyways. It's tough to justify that with just a 1-game lead on the Colts and Texans for the division. But I do think, and obviously you're 1 game back for the number 1 seed as well in the AFC. But I think the Browns just had the better team. And we'll see what CJ Beathard can do. But Denzel Ward is back for Cleveland. Christian Kirk is out. So they're going to focus all their efforts on Calvin Ridley. And I think Cleveland shuts them down there on offense and gets the win. And total's 33.5. I like the under, I think. I was going to say over, but I don't know. I'm just going to go with the gut pick. Under. Texans at the Jets. No one is on the Jets starting Zach Wilson once again. No, of course not. It's going to be tough sledding for CJ Stroud and co. Against this Jets defense who continues to play well. But you can't trust the New York offense right now. So give us the Texans. And I think that they go in and into New York and win this one pretty well. Total on this one is also 33.5. I like the under once again. Rams at the Ravens. Baltimore getting 7.5 at home. Yeah, I mean, they've killed everyone at home so far this year. So what is the difference between the Rams and them? The Rams have been playing great football right now, especially offensively, but they're going to run into a brick wall against this Baltimore defense. I just don't see the Rams as being the team to be able to go into Baltimore and win this game. Odell playing his former team in LA, and maybe he has a good game against them. Maybe not, but I don't think it matters. I think it's the Ravens defense holds it down. I don't think the Rams defense will be able to hold against the Ravens passing attack. 39.5 is the total in this one. I'm going to go with the over on that one. Lions at the Bears. Lions trying to keep pace in the number 1 seed conversation and lost to the Packers on Thanksgiving. Got the win last week against New Orleans. Going to Chicago. I don't know why this is such a small spread. I haven't seen much to believe that the Bears can win this game against Detroit, even though it's in Chicago. It doesn't sway me enough, nor does it sway my counterparts there with Jimmy and Logan. So yeah, give us the Lions in Chicago. It's a divisional matchup, but again, the Bears won a 12-10 win against the Vikings 2 weeks ago before they had the bye last week. I don't think it's going to matter. Lions are playing well. Despite some inconsistencies, give me Jared Goff and the Lions getting the win here in Chicago. 42.5 is the total for that one. I'm going to go with the over. Vikings at the Raiders. Start the 4:05 time slot here. And yeah, I'm going with the Raiders. These teams are super close, I think. 3-point spread for Minnesota, but it's in Vegas. The black hole is going to be swarming, and I just cannot trust Joshua Dobbs right now. He's going to turn the ball over once again, I think, as they're continuing to go with him as the starter. But I think having a healthy Max Crosby is going to be a difference maker on that Raiders defense. And while Minnesota's defense is playing lights out right now, I think the key is going to be running the ball with Josh Jacobs and then setting up the pass to Devontae Adams and co. So give me Aiden O'Connell and Antonio Pierce and the Las Vegas Raiders here. 40.5 is the total on this one. I like the under. NFC West matchup, Seahawks at the 49ers, 11-point favorites for San Francisco. Now that might skyrocket here in the next day or so with it already has, it's up to 13 with the uncertainty and the probability that Geno Smith not going to play in this game. Dealing with a groin injury there. So Drew Lock against that 49ers defense in San Francisco. Yeah, there's no way. I just cannot see a way that the Seahawks go into San Fran with a backup quarterback and win. So yeah, give us all the 49ers there. Total's 46.5. I like the under. I just don't trust that the Seahawks are going to be able to score enough. $4.25 slate. The Bills at the Chiefs. Yeah, I flipped. Give me the Buffalo Bills to go into Kansas City and beat them. The Chiefs have not been great. Lost to the Packers in Green Bay on Sunday night there. And with all those injuries I mentioned, Isaiah Pacheco, Donovan Smith on offense, Brian Cook, Drew Tranquill on defense, that's areas that they really cannot afford. Now, CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, is decent as a former first-round pick for them, but he doesn't run as hard as Pacheco does. And the Donovan Smith thing, the line was also already not playing great. So we'll see who they put in at left tackle for Donovan Smith. But the pass rush is going to tee off. I think A.J. Epinesa is having a great year at defensive end for Buffalo. So I think that's going to help. And then the middle of the defense, the way that the Bills have been playing recently, they've wanted to run the ball with James Cook and Latavius Murray. So I think that's what they're going to do. Now they're going to have to bypass Chris Jones, but if Drew Tranquill isn't there to mop that up, if Jones gets blocked, I think that's going to be tough. And then losing Brian Cook at safety is also going to be tough to take the top off with Khalil Shakir, Gabe Davis, and Stephon Diggs there. So, yeah, I like Buffalo. They're getting healthy. They're getting Dawson Knox and Kaiir Elam back, I think, for this game. So, should help as well. And give me Buffalo. Also, it makes sense to pick Buffalo at this point. It's my cousin-in-law's birthday this week. So, there you go, Greg. Here's your birthday present. 48.5 is the total for this game. I am going to go with the under. Other 425 slot here. Broncos at the Chargers. Chargers win in LA. I know it's not great for LA right now. They won 6-0 last week against the Patriots. But it's fine. It's okay. There's going to be some shifting in the backfield, I heard. It's not great for my fantasy purposes of having Austin Eckler. Not that it matters because the leagues I have Austin Eckler in, I'm done. Anyway, so yeah, give me the Chargers. They need this win. The Broncos have been fantastic. Winners of 5 straight. I think it is 4 straight, whatever. But yeah, I think the Chargers are going to get this win at home. And it's actually, Chargers are favored there at home. So sure, give me LA. Why not? I've been hurt by them before. It's okay. Sunday Night Football, Jimmy is lone wolfing at the Cowboys. Dallas getting 3.5 at home. I don't think it matters. The Eagles need this win more than the Cowboys do because they need to keep their lead on the number 1 seed. I think the Eagles go into Dallas, sweep the Cowboys this year because Dallas still hasn't beat a team, above 500 except for the Seahawks, who are now not above 500 at 6-6. So the Eagles are battle tested. They went 3-1 against their toughest stretch of the season. This is the conclusion of that tough stretch. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills, and they lost the 49ers in a blowout after they were just exhausted. High tense situations. So this should be another close game, classic in this series. But give me the Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds. And Jalen Hurts gets it done in crunch time again. 51.5 is the total here. I like the over. 820 NBC. And we have a doubleheader on Monday Night Football this week. Packers at the Giants. Packers getting 6.5 on the road against the G-Men. And yeah, of course, we're all picking the Packers. Packers looking fantastic right now. Maybe I should pick the Giants because of that reverse psychology thing. And plus, I need the wins. But anyways, no, the Packers should win this game. The Giants really are having a tough time. Tommy DeVito is playing well, though, at this point. Has kind of improved every week that he's been the starter. So, yeah, they're going to continue to start DeVito even with Tyrod Taylor back at quarterback, and go Pack go, get the win in East Rutherford. Total for this one's 36.5. I'm leaning on the over. I think there could be some points scored in this game. 8:15 p.m. ABC and ESPN Plus. The Titans at the Dolphins, the other Monday night doubleheader game there. Yeah, the Dolphins are 13-point favorites in Miami. They should absolutely demolish the Titans. I don't think there's any chance that the Titans have in this game. The Dolphins are playing excellent football right now, and they get another extra day to rest. So, yeah, give me the Dolphins. I don't think the Titans can cover Tyreek, and I don't think they're going to be able to block the defensive line, Zach Sealer and Jason Pierre-Paul, Andrew Van Ginkel, etc. up front. Plus the receivers, they're going to put Jalen Ramsey on DeAndre Hopkins and lock him down all day. 46.5 is the total here. Give us the over. 8:15 ESPN. Best bets of the week. Went 2-1 last week. So that gets me to 19 and 20. 19 to 21, I should say. Because, yeah, that would be 3 times 13. I think. I don't know. No, it's 19 and 20. Yeah. Because I went 3-0 last week. 3-1. Not 2-1. 3-0 last week. I forgot to change that part of the slide. But anyways, last week I got the Chargers right. They covered by the hook, -5.5 at the Patriots. The Lions -4 at the Saints, and the Dolphins -9.5 at the Commanders. So let's run it back on 2 of those 3 teams. I'm switching the Chargers out, though, going with the Texans -3.5 at the Jets. I think that's a good game for CJ Stroud. It's going to be a tough one, but again, I don't trust New York to score enough points to cover that. Lions -3 at the Bears. I don't know what I'm missing in that spread, that why it's so low, despite that it's a divisional game. I don't really care. I think the Lions can go into Chicago and handle them. And it's tough, but I'm going with the Dolphins -13 at home against the Titans. I think they continue to roll and just crush the Tennessee Titans there in Miami. Lock standings, we all got one last week. Or no, 0-1. 0-1 for Jimmy. Logan and I, we got ours. So Logan moves to the top of the lock standings. He is 8-5. Jimmy and I are sitting at 7-6 now. So new locks king is Logan. And him and Jimmy are together this week, though. They are going with the Texans. Unfortunately, that is my best bet. So I got to give it to them. I want them to win that one so I can win and so the Texans can cover their best bet. And I am also going with one of my best bets. I'm going with the Lions as my lock in Chicago against the Bears. Dogs of the week. The overall totals are not right, but it is correct on the last week totals. 0-2 once again for all three of us. It's not great. The Broncos +3 at the Texans lost Logan. His dog, they lost by 5. Eagles +3 at home against the 49ers was fantastic to watch. Not cover even close. And the Rams also was not close for Jimmy, +3.5 the Browns +3.5 at the Rams was also not very close at the end score there. So this week, let's try it again. And by the way, I am now just dwindling horribly. 8, 16-2. I guess I'm like 4 games back of Logan, 6 games back of Jimmy, but 5 games back of Jimmy. But Jimmy is 14-12, still leading it by 1 over Logan, who is now sitting at 500, 13-13. So here's what we're trying this week. Logan is going with the Broncos +2.5 at the Chargers. I am lone wolfing the Chargers in that one. So go LA, beat Denver. And Logan is lone wolfing Jimmy and I's dog pick. So Jimmy and we are both on the Panthers +5 at the Saints, which is not going to be fun. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be fun or not. We shall see. Anyways, that is the show for today. Right about an hour. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget, we'll be back next week talking week 15. Hopefully, the boys will be back on the show. And of course, we'll have all your NCAA and NFL news, game recaps, game previews, and etc. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, and X, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Thank y'all for watching, and we will see y'all back on Tuesday.